All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm David Moreira from RevOps. Along with Marcos, we're hosting today a live show, The Future of RevOps. And we have the pleasure to host today one of our friends in the GTM landscape that we share knowledge, we share experience, Boris Murdjev, head of partnership at Warmly. So welcome, Boris. How are you doing today?
Doing great, doing great. It's a pleasure to be here for the first time. So yeah, excited.
All right. How are you doing, Marcos?
Hi guys, I'm excited for the session today. Excited about getting some updates on what the Warmly team has been cooking on their end. They are a really fast growing startup in the space, so I'm very looking forward to get an live update on the last launches.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here to share all of it.
That's a great topic that we have today. Today's show is about something that's changing the game in B2B. Trigger-based system that act the moment buying intent appears. So trigger-based outreach is trending right now, and Warmly, it's one of the best tools out there to help you in that. And most teams are still guessing when to reach out, but the best teams aren't guessing. The best teams are like us. They are building systems that catch signals in real time. And that's exactly what we are unpacking today with Boris. Some of their knowledge as well, some of ours as well. So just a quick context on us as well. We have been testing Warmly over a few weeks, and we are seeing 300% more website visitor de-anonymization compared to only using vector. So 300% is a lot. I mean, just want to mention that before we start because this is an amazing tool. So that's not only incremental, that's a completely different approach timing. So as we mentioned,
quick side note that we're gonna go until 11:45, so 45 minutes. We're gonna leave the last few minutes for Q&A. So please drop the questions in the chat and we'll address it when the time comes.
Yeah. So we have
it.
some question for you, Boris.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you ready?
Go on. Yeah.
All right. So first question, like an icebreaker. Where are you right now, Boris? Audience want to know that.
Yeah, I'm in Macedonia. That is in Europe, South Europe, just next to Greece. A very beautiful place of the world.
All right. Seems lovely. We were just chatting with Marcos that we want to go there. We need that trip. So we'll let you know when we're there.
Yeah. I will be your
amazing
host.
place to be. Even if you want to go to Argentina, we are here to welcome you. So everybody in the Warmly team is welcome here as well. Okay, now let's dive into some questions about signals and systems. When revenue teams say we're trying to be more signal driven, what are they usually getting wrong? What is the missing piece of getting signal driven in their GTM moves?
Yeah, so I guess like you mean like when they're trying to like start for the first time to go with like signal based outreach.
Yeah.
What are like the things they usually get wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a great question to start with. I think that a lot of teams, when they hear signal driven, they think it just like means collecting more data or like more signals. So they just buy into different intent tools like Vector, for example. They will buy RB2B, they will buy something else. They will set up the alerts. They will plug in enrichment platforms like Clay. And suddenly they realize that they're swimming in noise, which is not what you want to do when you do trigger-based outreach. Kind of like being signal driven isn't about the volume. It's more about relevance and timing. So I think that's kind of like the first mistake that people do. Like they just think, let's just get the most data possible and do some type of outreach similar to cold outreach, just with like signals. And it's completely randomized. It's just noise. Where like you need really to be relevant. You need to pick the right signals for the process to actually work and provide revenue.
Yeah. That's a great point. We have been seeing a lot of our clients like stacking different tools to get more data, but then don't be able to really take the best of each of those. So I totally agree with you that it's not only about collecting data, but also activating data. So you have a cool feature I love that is the chat. Can you explain
Yeah.
a bit what's that chat?
Yeah, so the chat is actually the very first feature that we launched at Warmly, like when it started to exist as Warmly. So it's kind of like a competitor to, let's say, Qualified and Drift. Frankly, in our good, Drift is getting shut down, so it's only Qualified, kind of like a real competitor here. But the chat is, let me actually pull back. Like when we say chat, people usually think a support chat. Warmly is a sales chat. So Warmly is here to make sales conversations, book demos, help you get more emails, stuff like that. So it's a very different experience. You can have like different types of if-then scenarios for the chat, or you can just like train an AI that's able to answer all these different questions that somebody could ask, sales questions on the website. And I
That's
guess like one
awesome.
of the coolest features is you can show up on camera, a prompt audio and video with the live visitors and talk to them in real time. So you don't actually need to always schedule a demo to be able to close a deal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And one cool feature is that it's tagging of the benefits of the tool. It's not only like any chatbot that you receive a message from someone that is visiting your site, but also you know who is in the other part. So you can start a conversation with them, right?
Yeah, not always, but in some cases you will know who they are, especially if this is somebody that already exists in your CRM, which is super powerful for account executives if you think about it. Let's say like you're an account executive and you're working 20 deals right now. If somebody from them comes to the website, Warmly recognizes that and it can show up a different chat scenario because it knows who the person is. And the chat is gonna basically be relevant for what they talked about before, what is the deal, what are the talks, and it's gonna alert that account executive in real time to kind of like jump in and take over.
That's amazing. I love that feature. Talking about trigger-based outreach, this is trigger-based chat. So love
Yeah.
it. Can you walk us through what makes a signal actually worth acting on? I mean, not all signals are equally created, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. It's also like a common mistake as well if we're getting back to the first question. So I'll give you a very, very simple example. One signal, signal A, is 10 visitors come to your blog page. And then another signal is one visitor comes to your pricing page twice in the last 24 hours. Which signal do you want to act on? Probably the
The
pricing one.
pricing one.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that answers the entire question, right? Like that signal alone, that person alone is 10 times more likely to become an actual client than targeting those 10 that went on the blog post or the blog page.
that's amazing. So that applies to everything because we have been working with different tools. And for instance, when you receive someone that is visiting your site, it's not the same, like you mentioned, if they visit their homepage, the pricing page, the blog page. And it's the same for any other trigger, like if they are reacting to your post on LinkedIn. It's not the same if they're reacting to a post that is salesly, that a post that is about your social life and sharing experiences, you know? So
Yeah.
that's something really insightful that most people keep to analyze, that is qualifying the trigger as well. And in Warmly, you can do that as well. In their system, you can create like workflows that can help you to trigger actions based on those filters as well.
Another side note regarding the first topic you were discussing about many companies buying in these data intent providers and then not knowing what to do with it. I recently was on a sales call with a prospect that was saying that they were manually activating those prospects, those signals through their BDR team, but they didn't have like an automated system in place for qualifying those high intent prospects and then reaching out to them automatically. So that's another topic I wanted to discuss because many times the companies get to a certain point and then they finish the outreach, but they do it manually and that doesn't really scale. So what is the way that Warmly helps on that sense? That would be my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. And like it's like these people will still get a few extra deals just because they have the signals. but it's not gonna work as it should work. Because why? Like it depends like the time frame that happens between the signal is given and then an actual salesperson is doing an outreach. And I don't know, like I have 8 years of sales experience, like SDR and AE. I think that's gonna be at least a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week, depending on how busy I am with actual demos or cold calls or whatever. So it might be already too late when you're doing the manual outreach. That's the first problem, because here's what happens when somebody is visiting your website. Very likely, after they visit your website or before that, they were looking at competitors or will look at competitors. So if they have something which is faster than you, more automated than you, they have at least 30% more chance of winning that deal or that new customer. So that's the first issue. How Warmly fixes this is, like by a lot of automated triggers in real time. So one thing is, like alerting the appropriate rep in Slack or Teams. If they are available, jump in, take over as a human, you know how to do that best, right? But if you're not available, it's going to wait for, I think, 2 to 5 minutes, and then it's going to push these prospects into a LinkedIn sequence or an email sequence, and then Clay in between these sequences, which makes the message relevant. So it depends, like, who's this visitor? What did they do on the website? Where did they come from? Do we have something else about them in the CRM? Do we know any other information? Can we pull something from Clay? And then based on all of that, is doing an appropriate outreach, which is, again, pretty much real time. Like 5 minutes is not a lot of time as opposed to 2 days.
Yeah, totally. So in Clay, you can customize all that data that you get from Warmly, adding more layers of information that you get from other databases and so on. So it's the orchestration, of all the data that you're getting at.
Yep.
And as Mark was saying, I think that most teams are struggling to automate that in time. And that's why Warmly it's one of a cool tool to do that, because in this case, we're talking about website visitor identification, but there are other triggers as well out there. But inside website visitor identification, you have a great advantage over other tools. As I mentioned before, we're seeing 300% more identified visitors compared to only using vector. So what's the actually different under the hood? What's your different from other tools like RB2B, vector,
Yeah.
in terms of website visitor
I think
anonymization?
if you remember, David, when we had the first initial Warmly demo, me and you,
Yeah.
I told you, like, test it out. You'll see the difference. You'll still get the same data, like the exact same data you get from Vector plus other data points. And the reason under the hood is super simple. Vector is just one of the data providers Warmly uses under the hood. So Vector is one, RB2B is another, Demandbase is a third, Clearbit is a fourth, and we have other 15 that I can't share on this call, but it's a waterfall effect similar to what Clay does. Waterfall effect of many different data providers, so we'll give you the highest quality with the highest quantity.
That's amazing.
That's kind of like the main difference when it comes just to data, comparing with any other tool that is, like singular data provider, and that's pretty much it.
Nice. That's the reason why it increased 300%, David.
Yeah,
I think so.
that's the reason.
That must be
I
the
think
It's
so.
basically giving you like what RB2B, Demandbase, Clearbit, and all these others have that Vector doesn't. That's basically a 300% increase.
Yeah. So
Is Clay a competition for you guys, or is a complementary tool?
No, we just signed a deal with them last week, so it's an official partnership. They actually, like, anybody listening can go on Clay's LinkedIn profile, the official one. Scroll a bit; it's from like 3 or 4 days ago. They announced that they're going to be using a set of different data tools like Warmly to do their own website intent. So it's like Warmly, Snitcher. I think the man base is there. I think I saw Dealfront as well. But yeah, like we don't see Clay as a competitor because the two tools kind of like work together really, really well for you to be able to have the best data points and also be the most relevant possible in real time.
it's great.
Amazing. That's great. That's great. Yeah, it
For
sounds
the
like
ones that are using Clay, sorry, just a quick note, Mark. For the ones that are using Clay, if you sign up to a Pro plan, you will be able to start using the website anonymization feature that you can install, and it will be working with warmly as well.
Yep, it's pretty cool.
So Mark, you were about to ask something?
I was gonna say that we normally make our own workflows. Like once you get proficient on Clay, you mold your own data flows and automations. And sometimes it's like, I don't need this tool. I can make it myself. I can do it myself. But this is actually something that is really hard to make because it takes a lot of time to waterfall 50 data providers, and it's really break-even point for us to say, okay, let's hire this tool and start using it because it's going to add more value, and it's gonna be a no-brainer for us because the cost of opportunity to develop that internally is not even worth it for us. So it's
Yeah.
just an insight.
Talking about the anonymization, I think that this word is really, spread out there. But how does it work? I mean, what is the anonymization at all? For the people that is not aware of what it is at all, you explain it.
Yeah, so it's like it's a word that I want to compare with sometimes with like cold calling or some other scary words that people don't wanna hear about sometimes. But like it's a technology that has been there for years. Like ZoomInfo has been doing it for I don't know, like 20 years. 6sense something similar. So it's not Warmly that does this. It's the data providers that do like reverse IP tracking, fingerprinting, cookies, all these different sort of things to be able to identify who this person might be coming on the website. And in the US, it's frankly very easy to do this. Same with like Latin America. In Europe, it's a bit harder due to GDPR compliance, but you're still able to identify people on a company level. And then Warmly has a pretty cool feature to take a best guess on who the actual person might have been, and then have pretty much like the same workflow as US companies. But yeah, it's reverse IP tracking, fingerprinting, and cookies.
That's awesome. I mean, it should be like a really complex system to build, I am assuming. But
Yeah, I have
one
no
question
idea
that we
how to build it.
receive, one question that we receive a lot is if we can trust this data that we get from the website visitor anonymization. What's your take on that?
You can trust it 100%. I don't think any company will ever be there to say like, hey, you can trust 100% on the data points we give you. So I would say like, no, don't trust everything you see. But like with companies like Warmly or different workflows with Clay, you're basically making the chance of knowing the actual person much higher, as opposed to just using one provider, as David said, like let's say Vector, right? It's going to be much harder to be able to identify who the person is and have a high accuracy of, like it is the actual person. So I'd say you have to be very careful on like how you approach these people and the data you're getting. And you can actually help yourself, especially if you're doing, like ads or LinkedIn posts or, like cold email campaigns, stuff like that. You can use UTM parameters. This is basically going to track the person back on the website with 100% accuracy. And that's where I can say like, yes, for 100% you can trust this data and you can do whatever you want with it. But with just de-anonymization, random visitors on the website, don't trust it 100%. It's not always going to be accurate. With Warmly, I can share some numbers. We'll be able to identify around 75-80% of the website traffic on a company level. And on a person level, it's different from a region to an industry as well. It's between 15 and 50%, and that's within 90% accuracy. So out of 10 visitors, one is going to be probably wrong.
All right. So that's a great accuracy rate. So I have a hot take here about what to do with the data. When most people think that you need to reach out right away after you receive the data with a custom message that mentioned that I'm writing you because I saw this trigger, my hot take is don't do that. Don't ever mention the trigger because people don't want to feel like they have been, they don't want to feel like you are monitoring them. They don't want to feel like you are, being
Spying.
creepy. Yeah, spying you.
Yeah.
So my hot take is don't do that. Instead, reach out to them in the exact moment. That's okay. But don't mention that you have been monitoring them. Use another angle.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just not on the Wormly side. Like on our team, we do that. Like, hey, I saw you're on the website. That basically proves that the tool works. But that's
Yeah,
just in our
for that
case.
case, that's an exception. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an exception. But one of the first clients that I had was this insurance agency from New York, and they're like, how do you do it? And I share like the exact workflow, and they say like, we can't tell people that we know that they're on the website. Like they will freak out. These are old people, like 60 plus most of the time. So I say like, just do cold calls at the very same time and then come back to me with feedback after a week. And then they come back with feedback and say like, hey, like every single time calling somebody, they tell me almost always, they tell me the same words. Your timing is perfect. I was just on your website.
That's
So like
awesome.
these
That's
old
awesome.
folks are amazed by the cold calls being super, super in time.
That's awesome.
How do you, I'm curious to know, how do you route these signals into a phone dialer? Is that a solution that it comes inside Warmly, or you have to
No, you
create like
have
API connect?
to use some sort of a dialer. We use Outreach internally,
Which one,
like
sorry?
Outreach
Outreach.
as a sales engagement tool. So it has a dialer in it where you can like kind of like trigger those calls. Orem is also a good one. Orem is also a Warmly customer as well. But yeah, like we do not have a dialer inside Warmly. You have to have something that kind of like works with it.
It's awesome.
The only way, just to take a step back, the only way to do calls through Warmly is we call them actually worm calls, which is what I mentioned in the beginning of the call, where when you see somebody live on the website right now, you can jump into their instance, see exactly what they're doing on the screen, and prompt audio. Now, you're not making a phone call, like you're not calling them on their phone, you're basically calling them on their device, like whatever, on the laptop. They just need to accept audio and they will be able to hear you.
Wow. I didn't know that that existed.
Yeah,
That's a
it
lot.
works the same way with camera. You can prompt for video.
Wow.
It's a great feature.
So you call website visitor.
Yeah, that's the worm calling feature. It's like the highest conversion channel for our internal SDR team. So
Nice.
they don't do a lot of cold calls, but they do a ton of warm calls.
Yeah. I love the term warm calling, prioritizing the warmer leads into the dialer. But yeah, I wasn't aware about this specific feature. I'm curious to see how it works in action. So you're telling me that I visit the website and somebody calls me from the website, something like that.
Yeah, you can. I'm not sure if we can test it out. If you want to go to wormly.ai, not sure how much time we have for this, David, but we can try to show people how it actually works.
Yeah.
Let me open up my Wormly account. In the meantime, you can maybe go on pricing. Somebody will definitely try to sell you Wormly.
Pricing page right now.
All right,
You
give me
going,
a
Mark?
second.
Okay.
Worm calls feature.
When Boris showed me this feature the other week, I I love it. I think it's amazing
Are you
feature.
currently looking at just scrolling down the data agent? Now you're
Which
looking
one?
at inbound.
Sorry?
Now you're looking at visitors, signals. Yeah, you're this like okay. Just wanted to make sure that I'm calling the right visitor. So there you go. How can I share here my screen? There.
You can click on share.
Share screen Warmly. There we go. So this is a good example because it's anonymous visitor, but I have your location. So, and by the way, here's the Kire from the chat. So I'm gonna go start chat, and I'm gonna prompt for video, and I'm gonna turn on my camera, and you should be able to see me waving at you right now.
Are you seeing Boris, Mark?
Let's see.
You need to connect there.
Do I need to connect what? Oh, I'm not getting any request. Maybe it's not me. Cookie settings. Do I have to accept the cookies?
No,
See.
unless it was David as well from.
No, I'm not in. Might be Mark, but
Do you see Kira trying to chat you?
he has an ad blocker. I think he's blocking you.
Probably.
Maybe.
But you had it, maybe.
That's one thing if you have stuff like that or like you use VPN.
Yeah. No, I was actually with the ad blocker on.
Okay. Want to try again without an ad blocker?
Let's see. please.
I can see Marcos. Marcos, if you want to do it your way, I can see you.
You can see me. Okay. Then yeah, try to call again.
Are you
Wanna...
able to see his
Oh, there it
webcam
is.
as
There
well?
is Alan.
Are you
Now,
seeing me now waving at you?
yeah, now I'm seeing you.
Can you
Yes.
share the screen, Mark, so the audience can see it as well?
Yeah, because I'm not sharing. Yeah. So Alan he said that's like an AI
I'm so
generated
glad this
message.
worked. But yeah, there
All
you are
right.
in Greece. Wow,
There you go. I'm waving at you. You can see me there speaking the same stuff. There you go.
that's insane.
And
So
I can
cool.
see you like scrolling up and down the website. I can also type in, "Hey Marcos, my pricing," whatever, right? So yeah, that's the worm
Wow,
calling feature.
very
Glad
cool.
we were able to show it somehow.
Oh, I was so afraid that that didn't work, but it did. So yeah, it was
No,
the
it,
ad,
it, it
the ad,
works.
the
It
ad
works.
blocker.
Again, for the audience, unless you have an ad blocker, or like somebody visiting your website has an ad blocker or is using a VPN. These systems that we use from, like demand-based, Clearbit, Vector, RB2B won't be able to identify the person or do some other like enrichments. So it doesn't matter like which de-anonymization tool you use. If somebody is using a VPN or an ad blocker, it's going to be pretty hard to do stuff.
You're
All
generating
right.
the real wow effect on this live session. It's really
Yeah.
cool. Curious to learn what the audience feels about it. Haven't seen many messages, but feel free to share your impression if you have seen it before, or if this is the first time that you see this type of technology in action. But it's super exciting.
Yeah. When he showed me, I was, wow, I mean, this is amazing. That's a great way to reach out to people. You have other features that I'm really curious to know how you're using it or how your clients are using it. For instance, you have an integration with Bombora. So how does that layer of intent data works and how are you using it?
Yeah, so Bombora is actually like a huge unlock for us. It gives you research-based layer of intent. And what that means is you can see when companies are actively researching topics which are related to your product before, or which are maybe like your competitors, even before they come to your website. So Bombora already has that information. When somebody visits the website, Bombora just like attaches whatever data they have for that person to the actual visitor. So the end result is you see somebody on your pricing page, but you also see that they were researching on Google about one of your competitors and maybe one keyword you're using in your SEO strategy. Let's say in your case, that's like automate revenue operations, probably one that you maybe use.
Yep,
So if
that's the
somebody's
one.
researching for that on Google, you'll have that Bombora intent. So you will know what to look for.
Mm.
In our case, like we use obviously because we have different features, different keywords. So let's say one keyword is, like sales automation. Another one is AI chatbot. So if I see somebody on the pricing with a Bombora intent of AI chatbot, I'm not going to talk about how we do outbound. I'm only going to talk about how our chatbot is better than whatever, right? So it kind of
That's
like
awesome.
gives you that extra signal to know what to talk about, how to approach them, stuff like that.
And it's also tagged to that website visitor if they make the research and then visit your site, right?
Yeah, so it's basically what happens again. Bombora knows this information before even somebody comes to your website, right? So if you were on Google yesterday and you researched about AI chatbots and you come to Warmly today, I'm identifying you today for the first time. And then with that data, it's just tying back to Bombora. Like, does David exist in Bombora? If it does, this is what David was recently searching for.
That's how magic works, Nobody knows, but you have all information behind, and you are able to orchestrate everything to make it feel like you're doing something really special for someone. I remember that you mentioned like a few minutes ago when you're talking about this insurance company that they start cold calling, that they mentioned to you that it was a great timing when you reaching out. That's the type of effect that we want to get when we are using triggers effectively. So That's the indicator that you are doing a great job. That's the indicator, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is.
As well, you mentioned to me before that you have a case study to share with the audience. If you like to share the screen, or you want to just mention what the company worked
Yeah,
with you and what's the result, happy to hear.
absolutely. Absolutely. If you want, you can share with the audience the link to all of our case studies. This one might
Do.
not be relevant for everybody, so they can see the entire wall of love that Wormly has. Pretty much like every customer has done a case study, which is pretty rare to see for companies in our space. Usually churns are big and stuff like that. But I can actually share 2 case studies. So one is with, let me
Have
just,
some of
yeah, there's so many, but I have cherry picked 2 to share. Let me
okay.
just open them up here.
This trigger-based type of outreach can be applied to any type of company. Remark, we have developed this methodology that we call the revenue tornado. That is the way that we're using different tools to detect signals and then outreach to people when it's the best timing using different type of campaigns. But please, Boris, go ahead and explain
Yeah,
us the
so
case study that you selected.
one customer that we have called Kanji, they use Wormly to detect only pricing page visits and only for ICP prospects. And within like 8 minutes of installing Wormly on the website, they book 2 qualified meetings, which both result in actual paying customers after the sales cycle was completed. So there was no form fills, there was no nurture sequence. It was just pure trigger, action, outcome. That was it. And it was done through the
What was the time frame you mentioned?
8 minutes.
8 minutes. Oh my God, that's amazing.
So search for kanji in that wall of love. There's a full video about the entire workflow. And then another one, which is maybe more relevant for somebody using Clay, pump.co. Also search for that one in the wall of love. They automated the follow-ups using the Wormly signal plus a Clay action. And the result was they closed 20K in new revenue in the first week of using the workflow. So it's kind of like showing the power of being, like trigger based, and they didn't do more outreach. They just did smart outreach, and it was pretty good timing to do so.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great result to share. Could you share the links, please? Okay, I'm gonna share again warmly case studies here. If you click on that link, you will be able to access to that love wall, so you can review all the case studies there.
Yeah. So
But
to
yeah,
to make it easier for people, each case study should have a video, or most case studies should have a video. So if you want to learn or hear more about kanji and pump.co, you can go ahead and search for those in the wall of love and watch those videos. They share the entire workflow step by step, how they do it and what really happened there.
that's awesome. We were discussing earlier with Boris that we increase the anonymization of our website. We don't have like a huge amount of traffic in our website, but imagine if you have like, I don't know, 100,000 visitors per month, and then you increase 300% the amount of people that you de-anonymize from a tool to another. It's a lot of money that you're leaving on the table. I feel like this feature is really, really powerful. One thing that you need to take in mind is what we discussed earlier with Boris, that not all website visitors value the same. So you need to be able to understand which pages are better to track, which will be that threshold for you to detect that signal and alert your reps or start a sequence there. Another thing that we chatted before with Boris, I want to share with the community as well, is that when you want to reach out to any people that is visiting your site, there are many channels. Probably you can call them if you get their phone number, if they're qualified. But you can also contact them through LinkedIn or through cold email. And one thing that we have noticed in our experience is that when you are reaching out to people through cold email, of course, you need to validate the email that you get. So that's the important part. But if you want to reach out to someone through LinkedIn, you need to validate that they're active on LinkedIn. Because Else, you will be reaching out to people that are not active on LinkedIn, and you won't receive any feedback as well for calling emails that are not validated. So in order to do that, we also have a solution in place that if you want to hear about, it's a LinkedIn activity index that we create, and we have an Apify actor to share with the audience as well. If you like to have access to it and try it out, it's a way to qualify not only you can qualify the trigger in Warmly, for instance, and then send it back to Clay, and in Clay you can validate that this lead is actually active on LinkedIn. So there are many things that you can do in that. What we do as well in our experience is to create a system that track all the signals from a list of qualified leads. So let's say you have a list of all the possible qualified leads from your market. I had a client before that were targeting universities in the US. So of course, the list of possible clients were narrowed down to the amount of universities that were active, and that doesn't change a lot from year to year. So if you're able to track them and you're able to install as many signals as possible, you can then detect if any of those companies or accounts or your leads that are working for that account has triggered any action. And upon that, send them to a cold call campaign, cold email campaign, or LinkedIn outreach campaign. So there are many actions that you have in place. And just for giving you an example of one case study from ourselves, for instance, if you are able to reach out to people that are aware of who you are, of your brand, as also showing you sales intent signals, for instance, we are, sending connection requests in LinkedIn to those people that are reacting to our LinkedIn posts, for instance, for our company LinkedIn posts and every team member of LinkedIn posts of our team members. And we have reached out to between 90 and 100% connection rate. That's crazy. I mean, compared to an average of, say, 20%, you can increase by 5x the results that you get. Using triggers, it's really valuable because you can increase the conversion rate by using the same stack. I mean, you will be able to increase the conversion rate. So that takes you to another level. That's why we are so bullish in trigger-based type of campaigns. Mark, you're mute, but I can hear you that you are also bullish about this.
Yeah, I mean, last week we had 100% acceptance rate campaign out of a signal of qualified prospects that engage with our own content. So that's also, of course, a huge intent and brand awareness indicator. That's something you could do through Warmly as well, right?
Yeah, it's one of the workflows you can do. But yeah, I totally agree with David because I've seen it so many times. And especially outbound teams usually ask me like, how do I outreach to these outbound signals? And I'm saying like, do the exact same things you're doing with cold data. Just change the data, right? Like it's from scraping, like traditionally what people would do, go on Apollo, zoom in for whatever, create your ICP, scrape a list of 1,000 CEOs and set up like A/B testing, 5 messages and click send. And that's it. Like, and these people maybe have never heard about you. They probably have never heard about you. They are very likely not active buyers. There's so many reasons, so many things you can do wrong there, as opposed to doing this exact same things just with people that came to your pricing page or people that came to your services page. They already know you. They know about your brand. They're likely researching actively for something. So the response rate, acceptance rate, all different rates you're tracking traditionally in like outbound campaigns are going to be significantly higher. I would say like at least 3x higher.
We're
Totally
living
agree.
in the we're living in the era of, I mean, saying bye to the spray and pray approach.
Yeah.
So if you're doing spray and pray right now, you're missing out big time.
And I'm not saying don't do cold outreach. Like a lot of companies that are just starting, I actually recommend do cold outreach like the traditional way. Just don't track opens and clicks, right? When you want to send them a link of your website, because if you're offering a product or a service, whatever, the first thing the reader is going to do is go to your website. So instead of tracking if they clicked, track with UTMs when they come to your website through Warmly, right? Like for startups, we have like even free versions. This way you can do much more as opposed to just tracking the clicks. But still, you can do outbound to generate traffic. But for huge companies that already have traffic, it's just like it doesn't make any sense to do cold email outreach, get more noise. It's do something with the ones you already have coming to the website because there is interest. You're leaving money on the table.
That's what we call the outbound led inbound motion, which is not so common to hear the expression, but it's like bringing those cold qualified prospects into your inbound by sending them to your website, and then you have those SDRs waving at them. So that's a great funnel. That's a great funnel for sure.
And we also call it here wormbound. So
Warm.
using worm to do outbound and inbound.
Love the term. All right, we're running out of time. Let us know if you have any questions in the chat. The chat wasn't so active today, but normally is. We'll check how that happened. But if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat. We're gonna stay for a few more minutes. Thanks for staying until the end. Active listening. Yeah, Bernardo is he's been showing up for the last weeks. So thank you for the consistency. Any questions? Feel free to ask. We have Boris here. Otherwise,
Well, we want to thank Boris again for showing up today and sharing with us all their experience as well, the case studies that he had. We have been discussing about trigger-based outreach. That for me, I love trigger-based outreach. I think that's the hot topic here. A lot of people don't know how to do it, and today we discuss some ideas. If you want to learn how to apply that as well, we have a coaching program to help you understand how you can activate the data that you already have. As well, you can subscribe to any Warmly type of accounts and try out Warmly. I will suggest you to do it. We have been testing it for a few weeks. We are really satisfied with the results of there. We have a question.
Yeah. So the
Okay.
question from Adam is running Warmly in Clay similar to enrichment, or is there set required on a company website? Great question. So it's actually both. Like Warmly from last week is an enrichment data provider to Clay with the new partnership, but you can also simultaneously go on Warmly, create a free account, and we just have a short snippet code you need to copy paste to the header of your website. Same with the tools like RB2B and Vector to kind of like activate the solution to start identifying who's coming to your website. Does it answer, Adam? Go much more cost effective to go directly through Warmly.
Yeah, we have integrated our Vector account that already has a webhook sending today to Clay to Warmly. So now Vector is sending Warmly data to Clay. So that's a workaround that works really fine.
Donald. Any new tools or features you're working on for Warmly? Yes, actually, if you go to the Warmly pricing page, you will see a new agent called the RevOps agent, which is still in beta and is going to be in beta until the end of the year at the very least. We plan to launch this in 2026, but the RevOps agent is going to be the first of its kind. It's an AI agent for marketing operations, which basically will be able to unify all of your data in one place. So imagine like HubSpot data, sales engagement data, Slack data, website visitor data, all types of data in one place. It does scoring enrichment, and with AI, you can create different types of questions, such as like pull out just the B2B companies, pull out just the CEOs, and find me a list of 10 people that are like 90 plus score that I can reach out to right now. So you're just typing that in, same as in ChatGPT, and it's going to give you the list. So that's the RevOps agent we're building right now.
That sounds amazing. So we are able to try it out or not yet?
There is a beta version. You as a partner can try it out. We'll give you kind of like an account to test, play with it, and give us some feedback. But
That'd be
yeah,
great.
it's still beta. It's probably going to crash a lot while it's in beta. So don't expect to be perfect, but it's pretty good. Like I tried it last week. It's doing a lot of cool things that I didn't find like in any other tools before.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing.
They
I'm
have
really
some
excited
very good
about,
engineers.
and you have,
Good
yeah.
company. Yeah.
I'm really excited about how technology is transforming RevOps right now. I don't know what's coming for the next year. I mean, probably we'll have a GTM AI that's going to replace us all. I don't know, but yeah. I have another question.
It says Sauciest, which is an event here in Europe. And they're doing events in Amsterdam, in London, Malmo, Helsinki, some other cool places.
we miss out your hat, your cowboy hat, Boris. Where is that hat?
It says behind.
We don't recognize you without the hat.
Yeah, I'm trying to get myself recognized even without the hat.
So, okay, well, we're on time. If we don't have any other question, we want to invite you for the next session. Next week, we're gonna chat about other interesting topic. You're gonna receive the invitation as well today, probably tomorrow, maybe. But the idea is that every week we discuss how you can implement Clay workflows, how you can assess different tools. So as we discussed today with Boris about Warmly, we're going to discuss about other tools that you can implement in your tech stack. And we are going to share what we discuss in LinkedIn and through our newsletter as well. So we're happy to invite you to be part of our community. If you click on this link, you will receive an invitation to join our Slack community. As well, you're going to receive the recording of this. So if you have any questions about the recording, you're going to receive it. Don't worry about it. Mark, goodbye now. You're mute.
I was going to say thank you for joining today and hope to see you next week.
All right. It was a pleasure having you again, Boris. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here. All right. Thank you, everybody. See ya.
See you. Bye-bye.